very good morning to you. Welcome to Motivation Monday, where we bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories. Here at Motivation Monday, we like to challenge you, to inspire you so that you may become better and better, a useful member of the society, a better Christian, if you like. And today's conversation, we are talking about the power of habit. Yes. How is it that you and I can take advantage of the habits that we actually undertake, sometimes even without our knowledge, to become better? And what actually are some of the negative habits that perhaps we need to consider shedding off? Well, helping us with this conversation is Mr. Steven Motiso, who is the Senior Property Officer at Kenya Power Pension Fund. And I am looking forward to having this conversation. And so kindly do join us for this. And even as we do that, please do share with us when this whole question of habits come to mind. For you, what are some of the healthy habits that you engage in? What are some of the healthy habits that you engage in? 20316 is our SMS line. 0786 316 316 is our WhatsApp line. Please do share with us. Mr. Steven, karibu sana.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yes, I know I've done a very brief sketch of your introduction. So for the sake of our audience, kindly do let us know really who Mr. Steven Motiso is.
Yeah, as you've said, my name is Steven Motiso. I'm in the space of real estate. I did land economics. Actually, for the benefit of viewers, we were classmates. Yeah, we were classmates, so I did real estate, University of Nairobi. Got licensed as a valuer and also as an estate agent. So as you've said, I work for Kenya Power Pension Fund. Yeah, we are the investing member funds in the space of real estate. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, I think it helps sometimes if anyone is like me to understand the background of an individual, even as we come to the conversation that we are having. But when you go back in time as a child and where you are right now, had you foreseen this?
I think I can say actually it's God's doing because my childhood wasn't that easy. We lost our dad. I think I was in class 2.
Pole.
And my father was a policeman, and of course you know the means of a policeman. My mother is just a peasant farmer. So actually, for most of my neighbors or my friends, they knew that was the end of it. And to make matters worse, my dad was the only son to my grandmother. Oh. So I didn't have uncles that would say they'd really support us. And of course, my aunties, they were all married off.
Yeah.
So everyone was struggling in their own turf. So I remember even when I was in class 8, a friend of mine had the audacity to ask me, why are you working so hard, yet you will not go to high school?
What?
Because to them, because apparently I was in the same class with my brother. Yes, he repeated in class 4, so I caught up with him, and we studied together all the way to Form 4. So they thought if any of us had to go to high school, it would be him and not me. So that tells you the kind of background that I had.
Yeah.
And I can say that one, there is the part of belief. I had this strong belief that I'll make it in life.
Yeah.
And I think also that hardship kind of gave me some healthy habits that to date sustain me because I got the discipline to work hard for some reasons. I don't know why I was disciplined enough to sustain my studies. I just read. Yeah. Whether I'll go to high school or not, I just read.
Yeah.
Yes.
You did your part.
I did my part, and God came through for me. Yeah.
Wow, that's an inspiring bit, and I mean, I equally grew up from a hardship environment, but I was in Nairobi. You are not in Nairobi, right? Yeah.
I was not in Nairobi. I think I came to Nairobi when I was joining the university.
For the first time.
Those guys who knew my direction from Avia Center, you know that blue building. I had to first locate that building for me to know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
and look at you, here you are now.
Yes, yeah.
Wow. And you know, by God's providence, you still managed to go to high school despite, you know, that friend's remarks. Yeah. And not only high school, you went to campus as well.
Yes, yes.
And have you progressed beyond your undergraduate?
Yes, by the I don't know, should I call you MD? Because that's the name that I
No, Mokaya is
yeah,
fine.
Mokaya.
Yes.
So Mokaya, I actually did my master's immediately after campus.
Yeah.
I have a postgraduate diploma in still in real estate,
Yeah.
Institution of Science of Kenya, and I've done so many certifications
Yeah.
in line of group dynamics, business management, project management,
Yeah.
facility management,
Yeah.
both in the country and also outside the country. So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow, fantastic. Now, let's go back to something you said. That hardship sort of instigated something in you, and there are some healthy habits that already began, even when you were that young. So, what were some of those formative healthy habits that, you just began with?
I think for me, I don't want to attribute this to my own doing because one thing my mother was very serious about was Sunday school.
Yes.
So me, I did Sunday school all the way up to Form 4.
Whether you like
She was very serious about that.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that I had the basic Bible knowledge, that helped me.
Yeah.
Because I think it kept me away from so much that I wasn't exposed to so much
Yeah.
that even when I came to campus, I was still referring
Yeah.
to the same teachings that I got in Bible school. So I was very disciplined, one. Two, I was very hardworking because I remember for me in the village, it was either you're doing house chores or you're in school. Yes. And my mom created a lot of time for us to be in school, even to the extent of engaging a private tutor.
Wow.
Yes. After school, we'd go home, do our house chores, but there would still be someone at night to coach us. Then things were a bit difficult because, again, our primary school, we didn't have enough teachers. So I think we had about 4 government engaged teachers.
In an entire school?
In an entire school. So some of them could teach the lower classes, then we wait for them to teach us in the evening, in the afternoon. So, and you see, of course, there were the BOT teachers that were engaged. They could resign because of non-payment issues.
Yeah.
So I think she had to put some extra effort for us to still be able to study and progress.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that, but I think what inspired me most was my cousin. I had a cousin who was studying in Nairobi. He was in Starehe then, and he was doing well.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I was like, I want to be like him.
Yeah.
So even in my village setup, I was struggling, to catch up with his grades, his performance. He went to the University of Nairobi. In my head, I was like, I have to go to University of Nairobi. So those are some of the things that really gave me the push.
Yeah.
Yeah, the push to work hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So if I hear you right, you're saying because of that sort of Christian godly foundation, the question of discipline for you was not an issue.
Yeah.
You just followed the path of discipline. There was a lot of diligence, that came with that. And if I'm hearing you right as well, there's the issue of vision. You have this cousin and it's sort of a picture of what things can be. And so you had like sort of something to aspire to despite your prevailing circumstance.
Yes, yes. Mokaya, it's one thing to have a vision.
Yeah.
And it's another thing to set the systems or the processes to take you there. And that is where many people get it wrong. Because yes, you want to be an athlete.
Yeah.
But that is the vision. But you have to wake up to exercise.
Yeah.
You have to maintain a healthy diet. You have to hang around other athletes, to keep motivating you, to keep pushing you when things get tough. So to have vision is one, but you have to maintain the discipline and the consistency. And the consistency, because I think where many people fail is on the consistency bit.
Yeah.
Because like for us, I've given you my story. But it is the consistency. I'm telling you, we used to carry books. Even when we were out in the bushes herding cattle, we could still carry some set books to study because we didn't have the best resources. So for us, it was about, pushing ourselves to the, yes.
Yeah. In some of the people that you grew up with, I'm not under any illusion that everyone's story turned out like yours. Are there some maybe because of poor life choices. I know some is circumstances, and we must admit anyone who rises from hardship environment primarily is not about us. But there are some life choices that we make sometimes that either predispose us for success or predispose us to destruction. Is that also a reality that you have seen?
It is a reality because for some reason, actually, out of my classmates, let me just pick my class.
Yeah.
I can say very few, maybe less than 10% made it.
Wow.
The others are still in the village. Sometimes I go to the village and I sympathize with them because they look like 2 or 3 times older than I am.
Yeah.
Because of also again the choices that they made. Some of them immediately after our class 8 they got married. They pursued that route.
Yeah.
Others, especially the men, and there's a problem with the boy child. They got into drinking.
Yeah.
And of course you know what that can do. So most of them didn't actually even go to high school.
Yeah.
And it's a big problem. And again, you look at, if there's one thing I can pick that really differentiated us, it is the parenting bit.
Yeah.
Those parents who are very keen on the basics of their children, you take them to Sunday school, instill God's fear and God's words in there, you make it part of their life.
Yeah.
Some, even if they don't end up, big or, end up in campus, their life is somehow organized.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's a big difference, and I can actually say that is what really differentiated us. Yeah.
The question of discipline, and the resultant life choice.
Yes, yes.
And I think it's a sad thing to observe. I don't know whether it is your reality like it is mine, where what happens is when you now, either go back and, this person that you're with, and all they're asking is a 50 shilling or 100 shilling. It's quite painful, isn't it?
It's quite painful. Nowadays I go home, the moment they see you, they just want you to buy, a beer or cigarette there.
Yeah. And that is all they are living for.
That is all they are living for. That's all they think you can get them.
Yeah.
Yes. To you in your head, you're like, this guy needs to be rehabilitated. He needs to go to a rehab. But for him, he wants to get 50 bob, 10 bob from you to be able to buy that drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a sad reality. I like what you said about systems and processes that must be put in place. Maybe we could just mention one thing, because I want us to take a break and then we come back and continue the conversation. What is the one paramount thing that when someone is thinking, this is where I want to go, so that is not just wishful thinking, it's actually a proper dream, a proper vision. What is the one paramount thing? And then we'll come and build on that even as we take the break.
It is, I think, MD, let me tell you something, Mokaya. Habits shape our identity. Yes. And I would simply explain habits as our routine.
Okay.
The way we do things.
Yeah.
It is a summation of our actions. They shape our identity. So if you're not very conscious of what you're doing today, it has an impact on your tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I would really say that it is good to be conscious of your environment, conscious of the people that you hang around with, conscious of your vision, and conscious of what you're doing today to benefit that vision that you have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I like that. I want us to pause for just a moment, listen to a song, Dream Small, and then when we come back, we build up on this particular conversation as we go now into the nitty-gritties, but also how you have in your own life just employed some of these things. But for now, let's listen to this song, and then when we come back, we continue with our conversation. But feel free to send us your own comments on the power of habit. That is what we're talking about today. What are healthy habits that you have employed in your own life? Do share with us. 20316 once more is our SMS line. 0786 316 316 is our WhatsApp line. This is Motivation Monday, where we bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories. And our conversation today and the inspiring story today is on the power of habit. Helping us with this conversation is Mr. Steven Motiso, who is Senior Property Officer at Kenya Power Pension Fund. My name is Elijah Mokaya, your host, and it is always a delight to bring you these kinds of conversations. So let's just get right to it. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, before we went on that song break, we were talking about, you're giving us sort of a definition of habits, and you're saying habits create our identity, and it is a summation of our actions. I think, I don't know whether it is a reality as well that you have seen, where as a generation, as a society, we are living for the now. We want something and we want now. We are not cognizant of the little things, that eventually lead up to what we would like. I don't know if that is a reality as well that you have seen, and what would you speak into that?
Yeah, actually, that's the reality. And, this microwave mentality,
Yes.
that if it is satisfaction, I need it now. If you're earning your salary, I need to spend it now. If it's eating, I need to eat it.
Yeah, I remember that joke. If the money you have cannot help you, eat that money.
Eat that money.
Yeah.
And it's really, because that's not how families are built. That's not how nations are built.
That's true.
Because there is tomorrow, and you have to take care of it. And, that instant gratification doesn't really help much because, for example, I work in the space of pension fund.
Yes.
So where we take care of, Kenya Power employees' money, they contribute when they are working, so that they can spend on retirement.
That's true.
And I can tell you, I've seen both good and bad stories. Those who are disciplined with their money, those who actually saved, those who added their contributions in their working years, you see them enjoy life in retirement. Those who didn't, they just depended on whatever they were mandatorily being deducted, and what the employer was giving. You see them struggle in retirement. And actually that tells you that if you don't prepare for your tomorrow, you're going to struggle. If you don't save your money today, you will struggle tomorrow. But if you save your money today, it will save you tomorrow.
That's true.
So, of course, our actions today, compounded, they have a very big impact on our tomorrow.
Yeah.
And now that is, again, bringing in the issue of habits. Habits, they are these small things that you do every day. From the time you wake up to the time you sleep.
Yes.
Whatever you do in between that space, that is what defines your today. That is what will define your tomorrow. Yes.
There's a guy called Jordan Peterson. I don't know if you've heard of him. And he's especially advocates for young men and, teaches them quite a bit. And I think he's written a book, on principles. And one of those is just a simple thing he says, make your bed. Like a simple habit.
Yes.
And habits can be as simple as that.
Yeah. When you wake up, do you spread your bed? Do you take a shower? Do you pray? Do you greet? Do you have a conversation with your family? When you go to work, how do you carry yourself around your colleagues, around your clients, around your bosses? When you go, to social areas, how do you carry yourself? Do you go to church? Your daily routine. Your daily routine. Because, again, if you look at, and again, this has been clearly explained by James Clear, I think in his book, Atomic Habits. Things that shape our habits, one, there's a person next to you. Because whatever they are doing, whatever they are saying, informs your school of thoughts. The society. The environment. Because there's no way you can say, I'm too strong for the environment that I live in.
It's true.
I'm too strong for the culture that I come from. Because, Mokaya, you're a summation of all these things.
That's
the people that you hang around, the content that you consume, be it the books that you read, the music that you listen, the shows that you attend, or the, the videos that you look into, the people you hang around, you're a summation of all that. And you can never say, I'm too disciplined to hang around, bad company, and you survive. Somehow, you'll get diluted. So, people ignore these small things because they are saying, I want this big thing, forgetting that for you to get there, it is a summation of the small efforts that you make towards that goal. Yes.
Now, two things that come to mind. First is those habits that we've talked about, just the little things that we do on a day-to-day. are they predetermined? Should one predetermine beforehand? So that I have already decided this is the kind of person I want to be. For me to get there, this is what I need to do. And so I predetermine then. Is that how this habit thing works?
I think it depends with the age. For example, for kids, it is your role as a parent to mold them, to guide them, to show them the way, to teach them, to counsel them. But as you grow, of course, you have to take charge of your life, and you have to be conscious. This is what I want to do, and work towards it. This is what I want to be, and work towards that. This is the kind of person I want to be, then you work towards that. And of course, as you live your day-to-day life, some things become normal. And also when they become normal, you kind of now start dropping some of the good habits that you had because you've normalized and you're no longer conscious about it. So you have got to continually keep working on yourself. And now this is where the importance of having someone like maybe a mentor coming in, an accountability partner, so that they can keep watch and tell you when you're dropping the ball. Because of course we are human beings, there's a lot of pressure around us, and things will happen that you kind of forget, and you find yourself, you know, either in the wrong company, at the you know, in the wrong place. So you have to keep working on yourself. And as you leave these habits, as they become, as you normalize them, you kind of tend to forget, because they are no longer a struggle for you to leave them. So that's where now the role of an accountability partner comes in, to keep you in check. I think there's a statement, I can't remember it correctly, that talks about habits becoming character and character becoming destiny, and these things sort of being intertwined. That, you know, the little thing I'm doing today, in 50 years to come, it will count. But we never think about that, do we? We really don't. For example, let's pick something like saving, for example. So I think sometimes I'm good with investments. Something like saving. You know, saving is easy and difficult at the same time. Because saving, you're denying yourself today's, you know, pleasure for tomorrow. And of course, you have bills to food today, and there's no way, there's no day you'll ever say, I have enough to save.
That's true.
So, for example, they say if you are not able to save 1 bob from the 100 shillings that you get, even when you get 1 million, you won't be able to save 5,000. So it is a discipline that you start. It's a discipline that you intentionally start practicing. And the aspect of saving, for example, if you create that habit, you have to be conscious that I want to save out of my 10 shillings, I have to save 1 shilling. And it is painful. It is painful, and when you're starting, it feels like you're punishing yourself. But in the long run, when now the benefits start flowing or start accruing, you enjoy it. It feels easy. It feels easy. So just like also running, when you're starting, you know, you've registered for a gym, the first 3 months they are really tough, because of course your muscles are not used to that kind of strain. But as you continue, it becomes a habit. It becomes easy. Your body picks up. Actually, your body will demand you, you know, to exercise. So everything you have to be intentional, everything you have to purpose, and everything you have to push yourself. Yes.
You've touched on something, which is the financial side of things. And you know, their issues of habit become clear. Like their habits with money that, you know, you undertake, and they will either, you know, lead you to poverty or, you know, to riches, so to speak. But it's in other areas as well, you know, and I want you to speak. What does that look like? You've touched a bit on Zim, but what does that look like when it comes to our physical health? What does that look like when it comes to our emotional health? What does that look like when it comes to our relationships, you know, family and friendship and things like those? You know, what does that look like when it comes to our career development? Just, you know, and part of how you yourself have tried to embody some of those lessons.
Of course, given my background, I didn't have much. And in my head, I need to be this successful person. So it kind of also created my discipline around money, because immediately after campus, of course, with the small starting salaries that we got, I was able to do my master's from the little savings. I was able to, set up my life after school. And one thing I've learned with saving, it is not about how much you have or how much you're getting. It is about how much you're retaining. Yes. You can have two people earning 100,000.
Yeah.
One is spending 101, another one is spending 90.
Yes.
So this person who is spending 90 out of 100, of course he'll make some steps in life.
That's true.
So it's not about how much you have, it's about how much you retain. So you have to have that discipline and live within your means. Live below actually your means.
Below your means,
so that you're able to set something aside for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you see, you can be very successful financially.
Yeah.
But if you don't take care of your health, of course, whatever you're saving today will be consumed, by health issues.
Yeah, somebody used to joke, rather than spend your money in 5-star hotels, you're spending in 5-star hospitals.
Yes, yes. So you have to balance your life. You have to eat well. You have to, of course, take care of your body. You have to exercise. You have to nourish yourself spiritually.
Yeah.
Because, of course, as human beings, there is a spiritual aspects. And I think now that is where you as a pastor, you come in to take care of our spiritual beings, because you cannot live in a vacuum. If you don't have God in you, of course, something has to occupy that space.
That's true.
And of course, it will be the opposite. So you have to take care of your body. And, taking care of your body, people wait until maybe you retire and now you start having old age problems for you to start eating well. Someone was giving me an analogy saying that the reason people are having diabetes when they, get to 45, 50s and health-related problems is because they didn't take care of their younger selves. If you overwork your kidneys now and your liver by consuming anything and everything, of course, by the time you get to 50, it will fail you.
That's true.
So it is, again, the small things that you're doing today regarding what you're eating that will determine whether you'll have a healthy life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no way you can say, let this wait, I live my life now. Everything you do today has an impact on you tomorrow. Yes.
Including relationships.
Including relationships.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to work on them. If you're a family man like me, you have to work on your family.
Yeah.
Every day, how do you communicate?
Yeah.
How do you relate? Someone was saying that when people marry, they stop dating.
Yes.
And that's where now you start having issues.
The goal has been reached.
The goal has been reached, and as men, once you reach the goal, you can relax. To forget, you can relax, but you have to keep working on it.
I like that. The small habits. So you're saying if you used to date, go out on dates before you got married. Even when you're married, those habits are useful for strengthening the health of the relationship. I like that. What are some of the unhealthy habits that you have seen people, engage in, and sometimes even without the knowledge of the implication and the impact of that in their future?
You see, for every good habit, there's of course a reverse.
Yeah.
If you're living healthy, the opposite is you're not. Yes. So how would you describe someone who is living a healthy life? Of course, they are eating the right things. Yeah. So the opposite is that they are overindulging. Yes, they are overindulging. If it's alcohol, you're taking it to, extremes. If it's smoking, if it's
junk food,
and you see nowadays, there's a lot of junk food around us. If it's, what else would you consider not healthy? Yeah, if it's exercising, you are either exercising
or you're not.
Yes. And you see sometimes people confuse being slim
with being healthy.
Yes, that it doesn't mean you're healthy, because of course, depending on your genes, it depends if you may be plump or you may be slim. So it doesn't mean you're healthy.
Yeah.
If you're not saving, if you're saving, it's either you're saving or you're not saving.
Yeah.
Yes. It's either you're working on your spiritual life
or you're not.
Yes. It's either you're hanging out with the right people or you're not. It's either you're in the right environment or you're not. And you see sometimes people say, oh, I'm too poor, I can only live in this kind of environment. But I believe there's that action you can take
Yeah.
to save that. There is always a plan B. Yes, there is always a plan B. Never say I'm too poor to do a BCD. I'm too poor to exercise, or I'm too poor to eat the right diet. Yes.
I like that. So there's no excuse to healthy habits.
There is no excuse.
If you find yourself in an environment that is unhealthy, you have a choice to make.
Yeah, you have a choice to make.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to the issue of career, and you've made significant, steps regarding that, how do habits contribute to even our own career growth and development?
Let me tell you, Mokaya, one thing I've come to realize, when it comes to your career growth, it has nothing to do with your technical know-how.
Aha.
Yes. Actually, everything is about how you carry yourself, the soft skills. How do you talk to people?
Yeah.
How do you engage your clients, your colleagues? How do you reason? How do you conduct yourself at the heat of the moment? Of course, there is the role that your knowledge and the skills play, but it is more about the soft skills. Yes, it is more about the Soft skills. That is what will push you.
Yeah.
That is what will propel you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we're almost getting into another break, and when we come to the turn of that, we'll be looking into practical advice. Two groups of people. You probably have someone that has lived sort of a full life. They're probably in their 40s, 50s, and they're like, oof, I made wrong life choices. Is there hope for me? Can I begin even where I am? And then you have a younger person who you have said the decisions they are making today, in 15, 20, 30 years, they will be reaping what they sow. But I want us to listen to another song, Save the Future. And then when we come back, we continue this conversation. Well, this is Motivation Monday, where we are talking today about the power of habits. As our guest has rightfully told us, habits actually do shape your identity, and habits are, a culmination of many things. Your environment, your context, your culture, the people that you surround yourself with. All these add up, to the kind of habits that we partake that eventually shape our identity and character and influence what our destiny looks like. I hope you are enjoying this conversation, but above all, I hope you are learning things that you will put into practice. Welcome back. This is Motivation Monday, where we bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories. We're talking about the power of habits, and I'm wondering, what are the healthy habits that you have put in place in your life, and what are the unhealthy habits that you need to let go of, whether that be when it comes to the issue of your finances, when it comes to the issue of your health, when it comes to the issue of your relationships, when it comes to the issue of your career growth and development, whatever area of your life, or even your spiritual life. What are the unhealthy things that you need to put off, and the healthy things that you need to begin off? Do share with us. 20316 is our SMS line. 0786316316 is our WhatsApp line. Our guest for today is Mr. Steven Motiso, who is a senior property officer at Kenya Power Pension Fund. And my name is Elijah Mokaya, your host. And so let us now get right to the last leg of this conversation. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. We talked about, just before we listened to that song, just the power of habits, especially when it comes to the whole question of career development and growth. In your own life now, what are some of the things that you can actually look back and say, yeah, because I did this and I did this and I did this, I can see how that contributed, to my progression career-wise?
Yeah, I think I would pick actually the 4 spheres of life. One, financially, from a very young age, I've been disciplined with my finances. It's something I've really worked on, the art of saving. Yeah. And not just saving, the art of saving and investing, because saving alone is not enough. You have to have some financial knowledge and literacy to help you grow and multiply what you have. Yeah. So I would really say it is something I've worked on. I'm not yet there, but still working on it. Yeah. But I try to make sure out of my monthly or daily earnings, I set something aside. And I set something aside, I also invest. I keep on learning, investment stuff. To the extent that actually when we start having investment conversation, you may think that is my background. I'm also into several groups, investment groups. The one that I recently am trying to nurture is an investment cooperative, just targeting young people so that they are also able, to save for their tomorrow. In terms of healthy living, I try to exercise once in a while. This is an area that I can say I have struggled. I have struggled.
There is always something that gets someone.
Yes, I have struggled on this. I'm very consistent, 2 months. I take a break. When I take a break, it's very hard to come back. But I keep on reminding myself that, Steve, you have to be healthy. So it is an area that I'm not yet there. I'm not consistent, so consistent on it, but I try. I try to exercise. I also try to eat well within my means, of course. I'm not waiting for the doctor to tell me stop this, for me to start minding what I eat. So that's an area that I'm very conscious about. What kind of meals do I eat? How often do I eat them? What kind of drinks do I take? Fortunately, and I want to thank God for this, I don't smoke. I hang around sometimes my colleagues when you have these office parties and all that, and the temptation to drink is not there. So it is something that I really thank God for. But I try to eat well. I try also to nurture my spiritual being. Yes, I try to nurture my spiritual being. Of course, being a member of, I used to go to Mamlaka when I was in campus, but now I moved. So I go to Sitam, Thika Road. So also in terms of my mental aptitude, I read stuff. I read stuff, I do trainings, I go to school once in a while, just to continue expanding my, my knowledge space. So you have to live a balanced life. You don't focus on one thing. You want to exercise, but you're not eating well. You want to save, you're not investing, or you want to consume everything today. So you have to. And again, as I said, these are things you have to be very conscious about. Before we went for the break, you were asking whether it is too late for someone to either start or change. Change your habits. It's not too late. Actually, if you've not done it, it is not too late to do it today. Because, for example, if you, of course, there will be an impact. For example, if you know the art of compounding, someone who started saving at their 20s, of course, there's a huge difference from someone who will start saving in their 40s.
That's true.
But you'd rather start than not. It's never too late. So if you're not into saving, or if you're not minding about your retirement, start it now and do it actually bigger and better. Because, the 20-year-old me, of course, my thinking levels were not as I am today. So it's never too late if you're not exercising, or if you're not eating well, if you're drinking some stuff that is hurting your body, stop it now. And of course, sometimes, Mokaya, dropping habits is not as easy as starting good habits. Dropping bad habits, you see, there is the aspect of addiction.
That's true.
They're addictive in nature. And you have to unfreeze. If I can pick that concept from, change. You have to unfreeze your way of doing things. And this process of unfreezing, it can be painful. That is why you have to look at it in a different way. For example, if you want to be a marathoner, you don't focus on that one marathon. Your bigger goal should be, I want to be a runner.
That's true.
You look at the bigger picture. And if you want to be a runner, you start the baby steps. You are doing 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 hour. You listen to your body where you need to take a break. You don't. For you to change something, you have to make it easy. Actually, for you to sustain that change, you have to make it easy. You have to make it attractive. And you have to reward your small gains. By making it easy is that it doesn't feel like it's a punishment. Because when you make it feel like it's a punishment, then you're going to quit.
The body will rebel.
The body will repel. The systems will repel. So make it easy. Don't push yourself so much to hit the bigger goal, but just push yourself enough to achieve the daily milestones. Yes, the daily milestones. And also make it attractive. For example, someone was saying that if you want to become a reader, this is also another area that I've really struggled. Then you don't put your library very far, you know, from where you rest, because the struggle of you going to either have to step on a stool to pick your book, you know, most likely it will not happen. So you make it easy. So just have the, you know, library in a very accessible place where you can actually, you know, read a page or two before you sleep or before you go to work. If you want to eat well, then you don't fill your fridge with all manner of unhealthy juices. So you are first to create that environment that will enable, you know, that will facilitate your behavior. And also reward yourself. If you're targeted to save $1 million and you've hit 500, you know, in 6 months, take yourself out for lunch.
Congratulate yourself.
Give yourself a pat. Yes. So you have to make it attractive. You have to keep rewarding yourself, and you have. I think this is very important. You have to have someone that you are accountable to. Yes, that you are accountable to. So that when you're losing your track, you know, they're able to remind you that, bro, what you're doing is not in line with what you want to achieve. Yes.
Do you think that accountability part is perhaps where we fail? I think our mantra has become, you know, maisha ni yangu, shughulika na yako, as I think somebody would say. Has that perhaps been one of the things that causes us not to make significant progress? Because we are all alone in this. And so when the weight of failure hits you, it's so heavy. There's no one to motivate you. There's no one to encourage you. Could it be that maybe that is as well a missing gap that we have?
I think it's a big contributor, and especially for us men. Mokaya, you know, men don't like sharing.
It's true. It's true.
We don't like sharing. I don't want you to know about my financial status. I don't want to know about my struggles. We want to show our good side. You know, I want you to know that I'm doing well in ABCD. But rarely will I want you to know that I'm struggling in ABCD, and that is where we fail. Because we are not complete in ourselves. You have to have someone, you know, to hold you accountable. Yes. And sharing is not, it's not a sign of weakness. Yes. If you're struggling financially, just talk to someone. Talk to
Humble
someone
yourself.
that you feel is doing well, that you feel has some, you know, financial knowledge to get you out of that problem. If you're having health issues, everyone has at one point or another. So talk to someone. Look for that one person that you can trust with your information. And for men, sharing is not a weakness. Yes, I know we struggle in this. We don't want to show our bad side, and especially in this era of social media where, you know, people amplify, you know, the good side of life. It is not bad to share when you're also struggling. Yes.
You know, I was reading an article and somebody was quoting a comedian who said the greatest miracle that Jesus did was to have 12 male friends. Because that is a rare thing.
It's a rare thing
for men, you know, building friendships and authentic friendships and people that can walk with you and hold you, that you can be vulnerable with. It's almost as though society has taught us to put a tough facade. And unfortunately, deep within, we are crumbling down. And how sad it is that many have, you know, broken down all alone. Now, there are some people who tuned in, and these ones are perhaps not at advanced stages in their lives. They're probably at the starting stages of their lives. What would you advise them when it comes to this question of habit?
What I would really tell them is that, one, it is good and it is okay to pick cues from our environment. Because, Mokaya, remember I said that we cannot live out of our context. And this context could either be our culture, it could be our families where we come from, it could be our office setups, it could be the church. So you cannot say that I live in this vacuum that is not informed in anything. So one, you need to be very aware of your environment, whatever kind of environment that you're in.
Yeah.
2, you need to be able to pick the cues from that environment.
Yeah.
Because much of our thought process is informed by our culture, by the, our careers, the people that we hang around with, our families. So you need to be able to pick these cues.
Yeah.
And it is these cues also that will inform your reaction. For example, let's say you drink. And I have friends who say, me, I take just 2 bottles.
And I am okay, I'm done.
I am okay. But do you know that when you go in a social setup, let's say you have an office bash, most likely you'll be tempted to take 3 or 4. If you say, I'm a stickler to small portions of food, when you're in a social setup where it's a bash, most likely you will kind of, tend to overeat. So that is the power of the environment that I'm saying. You have to pick the cues or where you are. Then you have now to see, how do I respond to these cues? Now, the response, again, can be either be good or bad. If you're really not disciplined enough, you will kind of tend towards the bad habits. But of course, tumbling once is not enough to say that. Again, there's the aspect of, and again, maybe just to introduce something different, when do we say an habit is actually an habit? Is there a time frame that you can say you need X number of days for you to say that I have developed this habit? Actually, it is more about the frequency. Because maybe you could be doing one thing so frequently in a day compared to a person who does it once in a month. So that habit will peak and will, entrench itself within a shorter period. It is about the frequency. Yes. So sometimes if you exercise and you don't go to a gym in a day or 2, don't say that I have failed. It is about the frequency. So what I tell people is that it is very good to be aware. Just be aware of your environment, pick the cues from that environment, and also be very conscious about the response that you give to those cues.
Great. When you consider your life, years to come, where do you see yourself, and what are some of the things that you are doing right now? Because again, you're here because of choices you made, years back, but you will be where you want to be based on the choices that you're making. How does that look like for you as we get towards the conclusion of this conversation?
I think for me, Mokaya, I want to provide solutions to the problems that we are having as a person and as a society. And the reason I'm saying this is, especially now looking at, for example, at the political side of it, we have said that, politics is too bad. And if you're a nice person and you want to go into politics, people will say, no, politics will spoil you, don't pollute you. But you see now, we are the same people complaining about the politicians. So I think sometimes you have to take that bold step and take some action about it. Because for me, I think my ultimate goal, of course, I want to be financially free. So that is why I'm working on it now, doing my little investments here and there. I want to be healthy. That's why I'm working on it now. Of course, I'm focused on my spiritual life. I'm focused on my family. But now society-wide, because you can't just say I live for myself and myself alone.
True.
I have to live a life that also has an impact on the people that are around me. When I go home, I'm not happy about a few things. I'm not happy about our roads. I'm not happy about our schools. I'm not happy about, the agriculture systems that we have there. So, and it's something that I'm really praying to God that to enable me to be able to one day be able to change that, the things that I feel they are not working within my environment. Yes.
Oh, I like that. You are actually looking and figuring for a way in which you can actually provide solutions. Parting shot
and I'm not waiting actually for, I'm doing it now in my small way. When I go home, I talk to young people. I participate, in a few programs that are to support, the school-going children. I talk to adults. I contribute to developmental, programs. Even here in Nairobi, I still do those things. Yes.
Okay.
In a smaller way.
In a smaller way that then compounds.
That I'm able to do, yes.
Yeah, I like that. It's almost the same concept like the one you said about saving. If you can't save 1 shilling, you will not be able to save 5,000 when you have 1 million. So it's the same. If you can't do something small now in terms of providing solutions, then you can't do something much in the future. Any parting shot in a minute, and then
so
we'll
I think for me, my
close?
parting shot would be that in all this, it is God who enables them. Yes, there has to be. If you look at Proverbs 9. You have this is now Paul encouraging Timothy. You have to put God first, and to let God guide and enable you make the right decisions. You have to always tap into God's wisdom. For you to say that I'm in the right path, and also to bring people around you that will strengthen and embolden that vision that you have. Yes. So you can't do anything aside, you know, from God.
I think you're alluding to 2 Timothy 2:22, where it talks about fleeing some things and then pursuing some things together with those who call on the name of the Lord out of a pure heart. Thank you so much, sir. This has been a privilege. May God continue helping you in cultivating those healthy habits, looking forward to what the years ahead have in store. And so may the Lord grant all your desires to come to pass.
Thank you so much for having me.
Asante sana. Well, we have come to the end of our conversation for today. We're talking about the power of habits. In fact, let me just ask, you make this habit that you actually tune in to Motivation Monday every morning so that you can be challenged, inspired to become better every day. We hope that from today you actually begin asking yourself, what are some of those things that I need to shade off? And what are some of those things that I need to begin, employing in my own life? And we do hope and pray that the Lord will enable you to actually become the man or the woman that He has destined you to be. This is goodbye from us, but before I go, just another reminder that we are able to do this by virtue of partnership with men and women like yourself. And so I invite you, if you would consider being one of our partners. So send an SMS with the word partner to 20316 and somebody will get back to you. But in case you have means and you would like to support even right now, feel free to do that through paybill number 316 and for account, just write your phone number. Please, let's now go ahead and begin putting these things into practice. Remember, it's the little things. It's the little things. See you next Monday.